we're going to do today is we're going to talk about visual storytelling. Another phrase for it is digital storytelling. So it's basically using images, text, sound, audio, video to tell stories. And so there's 4 things that I recommend that you learn, think about using in your classroom. I'm going to talk about how to tell a story with Google Drawings, how to tell a story with Canva comics, how to tell a story with Adobe Spark, which, by the way, Adobe Spark now is free for students, so they don't get that little icon in it. And so it's something really nice that Adobe's done. And then I'm going to wrap it up with video, which you can use with all of these to have students record. Hello, Dr. Noriega. It's nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
And then I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on how to begin, what you might want to think about, what you have to do in order to just quickly get, and what I did was kind of the leveling. So the drawings would be the quickest way to get images into your classroom to have students do, or you, and then kind of moving up to the video, which might be a bigger project. So what is digital storytelling? It's where you combine 2 or more different things: text, audio, music, video, photos. It can be images that they create. It can be camera pictures. It can be drawn images, any kind of digital media. And then ultimately what you want is a 2 to 3 minute production, a video, a digital production that the students will create using images and language. So in other words, they can use things like emojis, animated GIFs, drawings, voice recordings, audio, and then text. What a lot of people don't think about is that text can also be part of that visual. So learning how to change fonts and styles and colors in text is also really important, and it adds visual impact. One of the things that's really nice about doing this is that it helps with increasing oral fluency. It increases connections in their brains to words, to vocabulary, and it does help with technology skills, which I'm all about. Just so we're clear, technology is my thing. There is a process. So, they have to come up with an idea. Sometimes you have to give them prompts, right, to let them know what they're going to do. They'll have to go out and research, gather images, get ideas, get audio, create audio. They might want to write a script in the target language. So let's say they're going to tell a story about their family. They might want to write that out and then tweak it. So you're getting the writing process along with the audio. They'll plan out what images they're going to put in, what order, and then again, gather, create audio, images, and then put it all together. And you can do that. Hello, Shams, how are you? You can put that all together in a video, and there's some great tools out there. And that's where I'm going to, with the Adobe Spark, is that you can now create really quick videos with Adobe Spark. It's very cool. And the key piece to all of this, in my opinion, is the sharing. You want to give them in Canvas. You can have them share in a discussion board and give feedback. But in that process of sharing, they're learning from each other. So, what I do is I have them put like their portfolios into a discussion board, and then have them, they're required to give feedback to 2 to 3 other people. That forces them to go review other people's stuff. And then they can see what great ideas other students had, what they did well. And then that in the future might help them to do better as well. So it's a whole learning process among the students. And with, the learning management system, this great Canvas that we have, I encourage you to have them share their creations with other students. And then finally, that last step, feedback, is also extremely important. I always have them write, what did I do well? I give them just questions to help guide their thinking, but what would you have done differently? What did you learn in the process? How will you use this in the future? So there's different types of digital stories. You can take one image and have them tell a story about what they see. There's personal narratives. You can have them look at history in terms of culture of the countries that use the target language. You can have them do stories that inform or instruct. You as an educator would set the type of narrative that you want them to tell. But you can also open it up and let them do it. But these are just some of the ideas that I kind of came up really quick with. And then the science says, and I'm sure a lot of you know this already, that a big part of our nerve cells are devoted to visual processing, and connecting that language with the visual is extremely important. We process images 60,000 times faster than text. And our students today are getting inundated with images. So I think also as educators, we have to get them more aware of how to interpret images and how to actually look at images. And language learning is a great way to do that. But also when you use both the visual and the verbal, as opposed to like memorizing words or just memorizing the speaking part of it, you're engaging both the right and the left brain, which really helps to enhance that language learning. Any questions so far? But more importantly, visuals add meaning. And so when you add a visual, it makes those connections of meaning into their brains. And so that also helps to increase that fluency. But again, like I said, the most important piece is that sharing and learning, in my opinion, with others. So let's talk. Let's tell a story with Google Draw. I'm going to switch out of this really quick. And I am going to, switch out of this really quick. I am going to, there's a bad picture of me. Let me drag this over here. Okay. So Google Drawing is really good. So once they have an image, you just go to Google Drawings. And it's really simple. You can have them upload an image into it. You just do a file, insert. You can have them insert an image. You can also have them create shapes and add text as well. But we're just going to go ahead and upload an image from our, and there we have an image. Now, what's nice about this is you can have them, and you can do this yourself as well, and then share it with your class. The way that you want to do it is, let's say we want to just take an element, like right here, there's a sign. So I'm going to go in and insert a shape. And I'm just going to square this out and do this. Okay. And then I'm going to change that shape. I'm going to format it so that, and get rid of that fill color by putting transparent in. And then what you can do is you can have them add a URL or a hyperlink to an audio file where they're pronouncing it, or they add a text to that story, however you choose to do it. And you can take those and find different elements and then use this as an assessment. So it's a simple way of doing it. You can have, like, what you can do is have them record, like you give them the image, you have them record as they describe different things. They'll be able to see that outline on it. And then you just have them click on it and then talk about what they see in that specific context. So that's one way of using images. Another one, which is one of my favorites, is called Thinglink. Thinglink allows you to add specific targeted tags on different areas. So I'm going to go ahead and edit this and show you. Does anybody have any questions about the Google Drawing? Okay. So I love Thinglink because you can add all kinds of things. So I'm going to add, like you've seen here, I've already added a sign, le signe en français, and I can add even more things. What you can do is you can have them type in a story, so they have to click on that element, and then they have to add the text in a sentence. So that's something else. They can add a URL. We can add a tag here. I've added a video so that maybe I want them, so you can use it as a teacher to engage them interactively with images. Or you can have students create a Thinglink and then again share it with the class. But I really just, I think Thinglink is one of the neatest features that's ever come out here. And I don't know, I don't think that we have access to it. So there is a I think it's $9.99 a month for a teacher to have it, and then you can add students, but you can create free ones. The only thing is that you cannot add students in Thinglink, unless you have a subscription. So you'll see in the actual Thinglink icon, you can add users and add students to your Thinglink board, and then they can create images and have it right there. Any questions? Okay, so the next one we're going to look at is comic strips in Canva. Canva has, it's free to use. There are some limitations on the images and things that you can put in here. But if you go into Canva and you just put in comic strip, for example, because I love comic strips, they can then pick a comic strip and tell a story with that comic strip. I don't think it's not gonna load here. It looks like it doesn't like me right now. But I went ahead and created one really quickly so that you could see what it might look like. So we could leave these boxes blank and have the students come up with their own phrasing going in here. And what do they think that the two men are talking about? And you can have them do that conversation and tell a story in conversation with the little conversation bubbles. What's nice about this as well is that they can create their own images. So they can go in, I'm going to make this a little smaller. They can add their own comics and add their own elements. So we can go ahead and copy this and then add this in so that they can create their own comic strips. And there's different elements, and there's tons of these in there, so that we can put a couch in there and we can paste that in here too as well. They can go in and search for things that they can use in here. You know, if they didn't find what they wanted, they can go find GIFs and put them in there. So there's all kinds of creative things that they can do with the comics here. So there's another quick thing to have them add images. And, you know, as they're doing it, you can have them record, and I'll show you that at the end, have them record what they're seeing. And that way you can get the audio piece of them speaking as well. So that's another thing. Any questions? Are you sure? Okay. So now we're going to go into the last one, which is, so you see how I'm progressing from the simplest to the more complicated. And this might be more of a project, but having them create a video with images and telling a story is something that you can do with Canvas. So what you want to do is, and this is very quick, I know, and you're not going to remember it, but I am recording this. We're going to go in and we're just going to have them create a video. They're going to ask you is, let's say me, and I don't have, for those of you who speak Spanish, I have to go look at the text, so I know that there's supposed to be an accent in there, but they do give templates that they can use, or they can do one just from scratch, however they want to do. But what's nice about the templates is that it gives them prompts on what they might want to put into that. So if I go in and I'm going to pick this one, it will create several slides for them. It's going to take a minute. And then it will give some quick tips. But then you can see where they can go in and they can add their photos. You can connect to Google Drive to add photos. So if I want to go in and go grab a photo, let's say I'm going to tell a story about my grandson. I'm going to go in and just insert a picture of him. You can change the layout of the specific slide. So I could say I might want to do a split screen, add some text here. But what's really great about this is they have this button here at the bottom where you can have them record their audio to explain in their target language what is going on in that picture. And they can tell a story. So I did do another quick one in here. Let me see if I can, let me go to, now when they sign in, they're going to want to sign in with their edu address, email address, because that's what they would do. But you can see right here, I created one on our family vacation. You can have them add music, and the audio, it'll play in the background. The music will play in the background. But if I choose, and I don't know that it will because it's using my microphone, so it may not grab it, but I can hold this down. I can start talking. It'll tell you how long you have spoken. And then if there's music that you've added, it will play in the background. I can hold this down. I can start talking. It'll tell you how long you have spoken. And then if there's music that you've added, it will play in the back. There you go. You can add music through here. Now, the thing about the music, there are limitations to this. This is Web 2.0. If you do add music, you can add your own music, but if you do add music, it will play throughout the video. Once they're done with, and you can change the themes, so they can change the colors, the themes, they can insert, they can move slides around wherever they want to see them. Now, there's limitations. They can't add transitions between the slides like you can do with like Google Slides or PowerPoint. And PowerPoint would be the next level in my opinion, but I know we don't have time to show you that. And this is really easy for students. They don't have to go through all this training with PowerPoint, but they can make a simple story, describe images, add text, add video, whatever they want to do. So here's an example of adding video. My grandkids. So they can add video. There's just all kinds of things. And I love this idea. Anybody else love this idea as much as I do? Thanks, Elizabeth. All right. Any questions? No? Okay. So those are some simple tools. I'm going to go ahead and pop up my presentation here. A couple of things to note, I want to note with you is that having students search for images, one of the things that's nice is that they can use target language in their searches. And what happens is they can find things in websites that are in the target language. And one of the things that I've done with Spanish speakers, and of course this was 7th grade, but you know, it is what it is. But what I would do is I'd have them write a reflection, like go in and find this, but then what were your expectations? So for example, I used the word girl in Russian, and when you use the girl in Russian, you know, we would expect maybe GIFs or cartoon characters of girls, but there they've got all these beautiful girls coming up in there, you know, and girls in swimsuits. So there's cultural differences and cues in looking for images in target countries with that language. But what I also love about Google is that the images are already captioned, so it can kind of stimulate some storytelling ability with them. There's some other activities that you can do. I call them found images. So when students find images, or you yourself, some fun things. I don't know if you've ever been on social media where they have this caption this. You can have them caption it in a discussion board, caption this image, and see what kind of funny things that they come up with. You can have them tell a story about the image, do synonyms, antonyms. You can have them add to the image with other pictures. Have them create tabloid headlines, or again, that spot the difference. So those are some fun activities that you can have them do with Google Drawings. I do include, and I will share this with you when I share the video, step-by-steps, as I do with all of my workshops, step-by-step on how to do things. So I have the step-by-step for Google Drawings, for Thinglink, for how to do the canvas strips so that you don't have to remember all this. The Adobe Spark, this gives you some just real quick, and you can copy and share these with your students when you do a job aid. Finally, you can have them record. So if you have that image in Google Draw, students have access to Panopto. They can do screen recordings with that. So you can have them pop up an image and just talk about that image on the screen and share it with you. And that's a step-by-step. You can also have them, and I like Screencastify. It's a free service, and the free one limits them to 5 minutes. So they don't go on and on and on and on. That's one of the reasons I like Screencastify, and I have them do that. So that's something that you can add as a Chrome extension, and you just click it and it will record a webcam, a desktop. So I've given some information on how to add that there. I've also included some, this was done in VoiceThread, but there's some examples here of different languages and how they took these images and told stories with them. So when you get a chance, I encourage you to go through and do that. Okay, and I've got a couple more minutes here, but one of the things that you have to do is when you create any kind of assignment using technology, you want to create some kind of a job aid. I've given you an example here of what I mean by a job aid. You really have to do a step-by-step, what you're going to do, what are the objectives, what you're going to learn. And I give this with all of my projects that they have. And then you give them resources. And I also, you don't have to do this, but I also will, like I have them creating it with PowerPoint, trying to get them to learn PowerPoint and how to create digital images. And so I will grab some screenshots and things like that to put in there. And then one of the most important pieces is to always think about and add a rubric to your assignment that you can also add into Canvas. So, and I forgot to put that in there. Oops, my bad. Probably because I have it into Canvas. But another thing is I will always also give them examples. So you want to create something for your students so that they can see an example of what you want. So that's something for you to think about. And then I think that's pretty much it. I'm giving you some information for open source images so that you don't mess with the copyright. I've also given you some places where students can get music and sounds for free and get those audio clips like beach sounds or the sound of a pin dropping. And then these are the other resources for digital storytelling that you might enjoy. And I did all that in 30 minutes. Does anybody have any questions? Thank you, Kevin. I know it's a lot. And I'm here for you if you need help with the, how do I do this? Where do I start? But I think that, and like I said, start with that Google image, the Google drawings right off the bat, see what they can do with that, have them create a quick recording with an image in Google Drawings. And then, you're getting that audio piece, you can get the writing piece. But most importantly, and this is by far what I think is the most important, they're working with images interactively and connecting the words that they're learning, the phrases that they're learning with that image. And you can't beat that for learning, in my humble opinion. And that's it. Any questions? Come on, there's got to be one.
Yeah, we got to practice it. We got the overall briefing. Yes, now we have to play around with these tools, and then we can actually come up with questions. So I would, to be very honest, I would request we can have session 2 or an episode 2 of this after
a workshop.
After we play around with the tools. Then if we have any question, so that there is a scope to ask you.
Absolutely. And also don't be afraid. I know a lot of times I've worked with teachers who they are concerned that the technology will overtake what the content is, and that just isn't going to happen. But it does engage students more in the thinking process as they're looking at these images, and technology is engaging. But don't be afraid to not know everything. Your students, you can learn, like I will tell you, 10 years ago, I was learning along with my students. I wasn't afraid to say, hey, I have this idea. Why don't we figure this out? And then we would work through it together. Of course, that was in a face-to-face class, but I learned with them. And, I said, look, I don't know about this tool, but let's learn it together. This is what I'm envisioning. Can we play around with it? And it was really great. And a lot of times I'll have students, like if I write a job aid, I will have a couple of students do it first and have them say, look, this was confusing. Can you fix this? So I engage my students in helping with developing the instructions, the directions for these projects too.
not a question, but just a thank you for giving us a menu of options that then we can explore. Just as Ahmed was saying, I will start with Canva probably. No, yeah, which is what I already use, and I love the idea of the comic strip and Canva. So
I do too.
checking that
And
out.
there's like, if you go do a search, you are going to be like, oh, look at, I mean, there's thousands of comic strip scenarios that they can go in and do that with. Oh, so much fun.
Thank you, Marie.
You're so very welcome. It was so nice seeing you too, Elizabeth. Kevin, thank you for coming. How did you even find out about this?
I have my tentacles out everywhere,
You sure do.
I'm always interested in storytelling and visual storytelling, and so always looking to pick up a new thing here and there.
Did you pick up anything new? I know you did.
Yeah, I'm going to go look at Thinglink. I've never heard of Thinglink before today.
Oh, well, you know what, Mr. Barry, Kevin, I would love to see us get that, because that is such a neat way to get students interactive with content, and I mean, I know that Panopto, and there's another tool that we have, but and I can't remember the name. I went to a class on it that you can have them be interactive with stuff, but I think Thinglink is just so easy to use. So all right.
Check it out. Thanks.
All right. Thank you so much for coming and giving me an audience, because if I don't have people to teach, I can't teach. That's just me. All right.
Bye.
The recording's out. Thank you. Have a great day, Elizabeth. Bye, Ahmed.
Bye-bye. Yep.